Alright, hey guys, I'm again with another YouTube video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a fan requested sniper rifle from Black Ops 2. It was a really long build, like hours worth of building. It turned out pretty good. There's one like main feature that I'm still pretty much missing. Okay, my dad finally went back to his room, so I was waiting for that before I can get into it. There's one more feature that I'm missing. The trigger is still missing off this rifle because they never got around to doing it, because it did turn out to be a really long build. Honestly, it should probably be a Master Edition build. We are, of course, talking about the DSR-50 from Black Ops 2. This is otherwise known as the DSR-1 in real life. There's a few different features on this rifle that I want to go over because a lot of it is pretty legit. Like, I'm pretty proud of this rifle. It looks really good. And as you can see in this rendered image, there is no trigger. First, though, gotta give a shout out to my boy Alan's Custom Lego. He was the person who designed the scope. I've been using the same scope by him for the longest of times, so shout out to him. Opening it up inside of LDD. Another difference that I might want to point out is that the muzzle brake is actually the real-life DSR-50 muzzle brake, not the stupid Barrett-looking one that they put on the in-game model of it. So, what's so special about your version of it, Blue Jay, Philip, or MrNingaWarrior, or Ninja Warrior, whichever you prefer? First off, I don't think you've really noticed, but the lower receiver, it's 5 studs. This was the biggest pain right here. There's a little bit of a lip between the upper receiver and the lower receiver. And instead of using plate pieces and plate techniques and things like that, I instead opted into using 5 stud wide lower receiver, 4 stud wide upper receiver. And it got pretty much the desired effect that I want. I have no idea why those studs right there are exposed. They shouldn't be. And this is throughout the entire upper receiver. As you can see here, there's an edge along that entire upper there. An edge along this entire side there. 5 studs down here. As you can see, these 2 plates are 2, 1, and then 2, which means the magazines are actually 3 studs, which makes it much more accurate. The grip and trigger guard are actually 4 studs, believe it or not, which is a little complicated. This goes back up in the 5 studs because I wanted the magazines to be consistent, which means that this front one here needs to also be 3 studs. And then the really fun part was doing this right here, because this curve actually extends into the lower receiver here, and as you can see, I ended up doing that all the way through, and that was super fun to do. Not really fun. That's what took up a lot of time, was figuring out how to get that down. So anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get into our review of the weapon. We're going to start with the stock and work our way forward and point out a few different features of how this weapon works, because it's actually quite interesting. Alright, so this stock here, or the butt pad, is 5 studs wide, narrows down in the 3 up here. It's got the curve on it, go this way, and it's also got a curve wrapping around this way, which is pretty legit, really comfortable looking. I love it. The top of this here has curves on it as well, as it should. This here is actually 2 studs, this is 3, and then here on the widest part is 5. It's got the hole here. I have no idea what the hole is for. I'm going to assume it just makes the weapon lighter overall. Maybe you can throw a sling in there and it will be fine. But this section overall looks generally weak, even on the real steel version, so I don't know if that's be a good thing or not. This part down here, let's say you take and you remove this pin here, you can pull out your monopod here and adjust it as much as you want. Pretty legit. That is a function of the real life rifle. This curves on all four sides to make it just look a little bit better. Down here, instead of using this piece that I used, I should have used this piece right here so that you don't see the exposed stud right there. Should have. Should have, would have, could have, but I didn't. On top of that, we have our cheek rest. This should be adjustable, which is why I'm not considering this a Master Edition build, because there are a few points where I am like super lazy. This should go up and down, but I didn't do that. That's what this piece here is for, but again, I didn't do that, so I'm not going to consider this part of a Master Edition build. This back seam here, the angle here, was pretty easy to do because it uses these pieces and they make perfect angles and whatnot. This front seam was a little bit harder because it uses the 2 stud hide pieces, and unless I take and I flip these upside down like that, I wouldn't be able to get a perfect seam. So what I ended up doing was using those pieces, and I got it close enough. You can barely see it when it's angled out and you're far away like this. So yep. On top of all of this, we have where the action is. This is, contrary to belief, a bullpup rifle. There's 2 magazines for something that we'll get into a little bit later. It feeds out of the back magazine here using a bolt action, as you can see. So this locks into place right here. You can take and flip this up like so. Then I believe I have this one on rails so that you can take and color select the bolt and then slide it backwards like so. Oh no, it doesn't go all the way back. Do not have it. Alright. I think this one should be a stud lower, which is no problem. I could just change the from this piece to a cheese wedge and then drop this down a little bit lower. See if that works actually. Oops, did not mean to delete that one. See if that works and lets us slide it back further. Yep, there we go. So technically your bolt would slide all the way that far back, and then you can slide it back forward through chamber around into the exposed chamber up here, and then boom, fire, good to go. That's just a modification I overlooked. No problem, I can fix that later. Grab out your 50 Bmg magazine here. Holds 5 rounds in a magazine. 50 Bmg bullet up top here, 3 studs wide. And then on the bottom here we have it coated in rubber, surrounded by rubber, so that when you drop it, if you do drop it, you don't have any problem. No magazine release, I couldn't find any information on it, to be completely honest, which is another reason why this isn't a Master Edition build. Up here we have some screw details. This here is actually your safety, believe it or not. This is in safe, I believe, and then flicking it forward puts it into fire. That was super fun to build because it had the angle here, and it's on both sides. It is ambidextrous, so that's pretty fun to do. No trigger. This was quite interesting to build. I actually have myself recorded building this. That's what these 3 videos sitting down here are. Open this up real quick. So yeah, this isn't the sped up version, but this is actually me building the DSR in its entirety. The file that I recorded here doesn't convert over to Windows Movie Maker that well, so I can't like speed it up or anything like that. But so yeah, this was quite fun to do. As you can see, it's got like really, really nice curves in the grip. It's definitely going to be super comfortable when you go to hold it. So that's really awesome. Again, no trigger. Here's the front magazine, which is, we're going to talk about that same exact magazine. The reason there's a front magazine is literally just for storage. Let's say you start running away from a threat and you end up finding yourself drowning in some form of like pond or something, and you have to strip off all your gear and you lose everything but your gun. At least at that point you have 2 magazines to hold you over instead of just 1 in the gun. So that's basically all that is there for. All the necessary curves and angles going up into these. Super cool. This is still 5 studs. This up here, this receiver that you're seeing, is 4 studs. And then from this receiver that's 4 studs, we get bumped up into 5 studs right here, which, as you can see, kind of flares out right here into 5 studs. So this sits flush with the side of the lower receiver so that you can see it is 5 studs. The entire handguard here is hollow on the inside. The black that you're seeing here isn't black bricks. It's actually black cylindrical bricks. And it has a giant 32 long axle piece going through it all the way to the end of the barrel, so it doesn't flip and flop around like people think most Lego barrels do. Again, this is the standard compensator muzzle brake thing that they put on the end of it. This isn't the really complicated looking one that they put on Barrett's weapons, so I went with that. The rail system up on top of it, 3 studs using the broken style, 1913 Picatinny style. Completely open handguard, like I said. This bottom part here is actually where you're supposed to rest your hand because it can get super, super hot. This was really interesting to do because this is actually 6 studs wide. Because the handguard is 5 studs, using this as 6 wide where it comes up right here, it would have, it basically wouldn't have worked right here, and it's supposed to be just a little bit wider. So this one is 6 studs wide, this is 5 studs wide. This is 5 studs wide down here, the grip is 4 studs wide, and trigger guard is 2 studs wide, the bolt 2 studs wide, the entire receiver up here 4 studs wide, and then the scope is all sorts of wide because it gets complicated. And then this bottom part here, I have no idea what it's for. I think, and don't quote me on this, you can take the handguard and move it in and out closer or farther back depending on where your hand rests, and that's why that there. It acts as like your guide rod or something, but I have no idea. So again, the site, thank you, Alan's Custom Lego. He's the reason I have this scope up here. Super awesome, really awesome crosshairs, adjustment pieces. It looks fantastic on almost every sniper rifle I've ever put it on. And thank you to whomever suggested this. I hope you're happy, even though I did not put a trigger on it, or didn't put a magazine release on either of the magazine wells, or didn't even put a cheek adjustment piece in it. So you were close to getting a Master Edition build, but you didn't get one. But I promise there will be one coming up soon. It is on the desktop right now if you haven't been able to see it in the past few videos that I've uploaded. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. If you guys want to see all these weapons that I'm building and some more, don't be afraid to check out my website at bluejthemeister.weebly.com. I know I haven't been updating it. I've been super busy. I need to sit down and update it one day, but until that happens, you're just going to have to deal with what content is on that website. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later.